Hello, I am Tycho, and I'm going to be reviewing e17's Silver Tank gameplay on Ilios here. And I've started this off with a comment up on the screen that was made along with the VOD where you had both points in 99 and lost both rounds, so just a disclaimer, that means that, the tiniest thing could have swayed this and won this. You might have just got really unlucky sometimes, especially as you get further down the SRs, you're going to get wildly unbalanced teams, or wildly inconsistent players, or players that don't necessarily play well together. Their play styles don't really gel that well sometimes at lower ranks. So the feedback might just be, hey, keep doing what you're doing, but we'll see. You feel like you play too aggressive as Ryan, but you're not sure. Okay, that's a good one to look out for. And how do you deal with sim turrets? Because I got destroyed by them. Well, I can begin to answer this. Oh man, my aim. Can begin to answer this. I don't do a lot of tracking. I can begin to answer this without even looking at the situation. A lot of the time, especially if you're playing Reinhardt and you're having to hard shield, which means sim turrets just mean you now no longer move. That has to be something you have to be very vocal about. A lot of the time, if I'm playing main tank and there's turrets that are slowing me down, and I may be tanking them, so it's not an issue for my team. It's not like we're going to die. I might even be getting those heals, but the major issue is mobility, and you want to clear that space for your team so they can follow you, right? I will be going sim turret, sim turret, sim turret, sim turret. Someone kill the sim turret. Someone kill the sim turrets. I will be vocal. I will spam the chat with that because not killing those turrets can just halt all your momentum and make a failed push. However, we'll see what the situation is. And yeah, with that, let's go. So I like the Widow pick on ruins.
What's up, guys?
Yo. What's up?
Not
What
much.
do y'all think?
You wanna go DPS?
Well, yeah, but
So one thing I would be checking here, and you maybe already checked before you started recording, is everyone in voice? You can press the P key to go and check that everyone's in voice. I think I've only heard one other person speak. And if you want to climb, communication is important. So, religiously, what I do, start of every match, see if everyone's in voice. If anyone's not in voice, I get in chat and ask them to join voice. But yeah, looking at this comp, I'd be urging this person to figure out what they want to play, and I'd want to see that, and I would then possibly consider changing tanks here. Widow's going to be up on high ground. You're not going to be really giving her any value at all, but that's fine because you give her value. Sorry, when I say you're not giving her any value, I mean you're not going to be giving her any tank shieldy mitigation value, right? But what you are going to be doing is making space for her. So in order to enable that Widow, you need to get as much focus off her as possible by taking that focus yourself and being aggressive. However, this last DPS pick might just seal the deal as to whether or not that's even viable for you to play aggressive, because you might not have anyone backing you up. And honestly, my default thought, if I see we're walked into D.Va and we have a Zen and a Widow, is probably to play Winston. But different SR, different meta. Let's see what we actually get here.
That's about comp, really.
I don't know what he said. I missed it.
Okay, McCree. You can work with McCree. With the Reinhardt here. And I would honestly say that you know, when you see that comp, when you see this comp, you need to be thinking, right, where's my value coming from? You're going to have a big shield. You're going to be holding it up. Your Widow's not going to be behind it. And this is you. Your Moira's probably going to be taking advantage of it, as she's going to have to be close to you to heal you up. And you don't have the mobility of D.Va to kind of engage and fall back to the Moira. Your Zen, yep, is probably almost certainly going to be behind your shield. And your Rhine, your McCree is almost certainly going to be behind your shield. So I would say, like, you already just seeing the comp, you want to be looking out for this core 3 here. It depends on the D.Va's playstyle whether she's going to be supporting you or not, but you are going to be supporting these 3 guys for the most part. And kind of, you know, indirectly supporting the Widow but not by being in front of her, and not by protecting her and body blocking her and shielding her, and shattering people at her feet kind of thing. You're going to be doing it by getting up in everyone else's face and just taking heat off her so that she can reposition and start getting picks throughout that chaos that you're in the middle of. So yeah, I'd like to see you maybe being aware of where those 3 people are. I've probably talked for as long as this match is already, and we've not even left the gate.
Whoops, there we go. I don't know why I was on 70. There's sim turrets on the choke.
Yep, good call. But I mean, you can afford a couple of swings here. You got a Moira, so that wasn't a bad one. Now that sim is burning up your shield. There's a Reaper. Now here, you've committed to this choke, which is probably fine, right? But your team aren't committing to you really. You get that sense because there's nothing coming through your shield. There's no damage coming through your shield. There's no one hugging you. Doesn't look like you're getting topped up by anyone right now. And you can see your Moira has left the building. Someone else is over there. And then we see your D.Va's over here. So you're kind of split. At this exact moment when I see that there's probably no one with me, I would almost certainly every time take a hard right and force the Moira to heal me. I will get in front of her, or if it's not safe to go out, I'll get behind her somewhere safe and ask for heals there. I probably wouldn't be engaging that way at this point. But that was a hard one to miss, and that happens a lot where you think you're setting up the perfect play as Reinhardt, and then you realize far too late that your team aren't with you. And that is frustrating when that happens.
Let me die, I gotta switch.
Now this, yeah, I was going to say, get that charge out. You could have charged earlier there and hugged the wall and still got some distance. Charging earlier means you got the cooldown back earlier and you're getting there faster.
Reaper on point. Damn it.
That's fine. That's fine.
I should have had him.
Don't beat yourself up about that kill. You won the fight. The clock is ticking.
Oh, I thought there's a sim back
That's
here.
a win
Your
condition.
name like Dana Nana or Dana Nana?
Da na na na. Hey hey hey.
It's a good swing fire strike combo. Good shatter. I love shutting down Moira with that shatter. because that Moira ult can do so much
Ah.
work. Now, you have, let's just go back a little bit here. You have a friendly sim shield, is that? Or is this just a weird coloration? This looks like a blue, it looks kind of blue and yellow. Do you even have a sim? Maybe, okay, maybe that is an enemy sim shield, it's just your graphics are doing something blue here. But yeah, either way, if that's an enemy sim shield, she's taking advantage of it, so she's punishing you, and you're not punishing her. You've currently got full health and full shield, and you're the only one on point. And she's got you flanked by herself. I would say, you want to be either hard committing or getting the fuck out. You could be walking towards that ramp whilst hammering down these turrets with a swing. I think you're not really sure what you're doing here.
Ah.
And then you give the turrets, and then you commit once the turrets are on you. You want it. You want it. Lost McCree in the process. And you might be on the back foot here. D.Va's lost her mech. So, I see this a lot from tanks, and I've done this a lot as a tank, and kind of getting better at noticing it, where you're protecting the payload, you're protecting the objective at this point. At this point, you're shielding yourself and the objective. And that means a lot of enemy heroes, and if you play other heroes or DPS, if you see that, you can just ignore it, right? Because you know that this Ring doesn't want to weave the point. He's just trying to stand here to contest and keep himself alive. Because you're not giving value to your team by getting in on their fights that they're in on, they're also not going to be supporting you to keep you up. So everyone can ignore you at this point until they have the numbers or the advantage. Or the need to just bully you for ult charge.
Oh, damn it.
Zen's decided to come and keep you in the fight, that's good. I like the charge. I like the hammer. Now the hammer was probably a bit much. No, it wasn't bad. No, definitely don't beat yourself up with that. It's not a Reddit GIF. It's not a clip of a pro player decimating an entire team. The smallest things can give you advantage in a fight, right? Now, if you hadn't even shattered there at all, that fight was probably won. However, had that D.Va got a pick instead of being shattered, then that fight might have been lost. I think what you did by pressing Q and ensuring you got the D.Va kill was you secured the fight. Now, it's unfortunate the Tracer Pulse Bomb went off at the same time, because that means that you guys used a little bit too much ult to win that fight. And if you'd communicated you were planning on shattering beforehand, or if the Tracer had communicated you planned on using Pulse Bomb beforehand, or if you'd pressed tab to see who had ults as you were getting close to yours, that might have been avoided. But hey, it's a one fight, right? Let's not beat ourselves up by winning a fight too much. Good instincts to just shield the Reaper there, because you don't have an abundance of heals.
Yeah, I fucked that with that ult. That was stupid. I got in the moment. Ooh.
And I imagine that because you now don't have the ults, that they will win this fight. Again, so we're in this position again where you're contesting even before anyone stepped on point. You're not really shielding anyone. Standing at the bottom of a slope, so let me just get really nice and patronizing here. If you have... Oh no, that's a terrible slope. What's going on with my aim? If you have a slope and you're standing as Reinhardt with your shield up, they can shoot over and kill whoever's on that slope, or on, up high on that slope. The area that you're providing, which is safe, I meant to change color. Is like this area here, right? That's safe now. Whereas if, and you already know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to finish this diagram. If you just back up a bit to even just here, and obviously you scoop your team up with you because they know, well, I want to be behind the shield. You've created a safe zone that, you know, goes all the way off here. That is something that I don't think has crossed your mind because you're focused on the objective, and I think, you know, there's worse places to start because if your default position is to never think about the objective, then you're probably going to be a much worse tank, and nobody likes playing with those tanks. But sometimes you need to just give them enough space that you can figure out your plan.
Shit, I pushed up too far.
And
Fuck.
you didn't have a plan there, really. Because you didn't back up, you didn't have an option to take cover once they started snowballing in and get healed up and see what your team was kind of looking like. I would really like to have seen you back up, get to a point where your team's kind of safe, and then look around, see where your team are, see who's alive, maybe press tab, see who's got ult, see if anyone's flanking, that kind of thing. But yeah, because you didn't back up, you were far too exposed. Your shield went down, which kind of forced you to commit. And I don't think the committing, you kind of seem like you were angry at the fact that you committed. I think committing was probably the right thing to do given where you were. I think being there was the wrong thing.
Surrender to my will.
Back into the fray.
So right here, this is, if I'm in this exact situation where we've got it to 99, they've only got it to 27, and our team is split. This is where you want to call, hey guys, we only need to win one fight, and we've got like 3 attempts. Let's just group up and win one of those 3 fights. Let's try and, you know, get some ults. I'd be pressing tab, I'd see who's got ult coming up, I'd say, right, okay, this fight, let's use this ult, we'll have this ult by next fight, that kind of thing. These are things you can be doing when you see this situation, which happens a lot. It happens a lot. Now, currently, and this happens a lot as well, and it doesn't just happen at Silver, I'm sorry to say. These guys are in a lost fight right now, or a losing fight. They've got disadvantage. They don't have tanks, and they are low in numbers. They're maybe going to lose. You guys are pushing in. Ideally, you want them to fall back and get safe, or just hurry up and die so you can regroup. No one's made that call yet, so really, what's probably about to happen is as you get closer, these guys are going to die, and then you guys are going to be too close to disengage, and that's how trickling happens. There's the first death.
Picked.
So now, you know, I think a 4v6. A 4v6, and you're currently giving no value again. You're 0 value here. Some of your team have committed to this fight. You've not committed to this fight. You're shielding yourself and watching the fight, which means everyone's going to ignore you.
Oh no.
I like the attempt. I like it. That could have been huge payoff. Now, your Moira just used Fade. That means she's in trouble.
I've
She's
got
hanging
ult.
with you now. Good call on the ult. Decent opportunity for an ult. You should be screaming at your team to shoot that turret for you. You can just say, Moira, hey, can you kill that turret and look at it so she couldn't possibly be mistaken. Because that turret needs to die if you guys want to take this choke. Yeah, probably shouldn't have taken that fight. But that was unfortunate. I would have probably assumed that my Moira was with me there. But she wasn't. And I don't get the impression that she has been for much of the game. So in those situations where your main healer isn't healing the main tank, you either need to adapt to that, or try and change that situation.
I guess I should take. Do I take that fight? Or
Yeah, probably not. In other situations, like had your team been with you, because there was people present, if they were playing around their main tank, take that fight. Absolutely take that fight, because that hog is going to create chaos for you guys trying to get on that point. And if you all focus him down together whilst he's kind of out of position from the objective, that's a one fight. However, and as I've said, a lot of the time you've been shielding yourself, you've been shielding the objective, or you've kind of just been standing and your team are getting impatient and they're moving elsewhere and they're being quite mobile, even though they're not a super mobile team. Although now you've got Farah, who is relying on Zen for heals, I suppose. Anyway, I don't think you've given your team much of a reason to play around you. Therefore, they're not playing around you, and you probably shouldn't have taken that fight, given that situation.
I probably fucked up by putting my shield down. Alright, I just need to get on. Oh my god.
I saw that trap. I mean, that's lost. Noble effort. But and really the main reason isn't any one decision that was made there. It was you guys trickled, right? If we skip back to that 99-27 thing, all you had to do was win one fight and you trickled the entire time, and not you specifically, your entire team trickled. If you want to climb, you can't just say, oh well, my team all trickled and there's nothing I can do about that. Yes, there is. You can try your hardest to make sure they don't. Be the voice of reason and say, guys, let's just group up and win one fight. And if we don't win that fight, let's group up again and try and win another fight, because we only need to win one, and we win this. We win this round. Some people will tell you to go fuck yourself. Some people won't be listening, but that's the call that you should be making there. And this is lost, so let's just skip ahead a bit. Alright, so this comp, before you pick a tank, now it is well, so immediately, you know, Orissa's a good lock-in because she holds well, by being able to just deny a lot of area with her halt. However, one more time, you have to question what's going to happen here. This Moira has hardly really been around you a lot. She's kind of been a bit skittish with her positioning. Similarly with the Diva. And now you've got Tracer Farah, and you're probably not going to see them much the whole match. And your healers are going to be struggling to heal all these mobile people. So you setting up solid on point, it can work. It can really, really work to just be that core for your team. And well is kind of one of the few places where I would say, yes, this is where, as a tank, you want to just be sitting there and just providing as much value from one person as possible, and let your team play around that. Let's see how it actually plays out. To be honest, I'd be really tempted to just play Winston with this comp, because Winston complements this comp much better by creating space for these mobile people.
Hey, you made it.
I'd be really tempted to play Winston. However, the other team, if they're smart, and I don't know how smart a lot of silver players are, if they're smart, they'll probably run Orisa Hog, right? And you probably don't want to be diving into that as Winston.
Alright.
So Orisa might be the smart call here. However, if you're an Orisa versus an Orisa Hog, you might just lose that battle, and if you do lose that battle, you're going to want to start switching. So they're playing Orisa Diva. Okay, that was a little bit risky. Let's just watch that engagement again. So they've got the Orisa shield. That Orisa's going to try and halt anyone out of that well that she can. Turrets go up onto the pillar behind you. Could have noticed them a bit faster. Taken them out before they deployed, whilst your shield is still full. However, you wait, your shield's now super low and off cooldown. You turn your back to everyone and go for the turrets at this point. I think that's just poor timing. Get a fresh shield down or press your shift to ensure no one can halt you in. But you got the turret. Nobody got the kill on you. I just think that was a bit risky. Your shield is absolutely melting. So this, in a situation like this,
God damn, I hate Symmetra. Fuck.
this starts, if my shield is, if we're losing the shield war, right, or not even the shield war, if I'm not getting a lot of value out of my shield, if it's melting really fast, and Sim's good at melting shields, Junkrat's good at melting shields, they've got an Orisa and a D.Va who can just spam constantly, you gotta start questioning whether you're on the right hero, if your shield is virtually useless.
Where the fuck? Oh.
That would have been a really good time to try and suck that D.Va into the well there, because that's really what you want to be thinking about, right? If you're standing at the well as Orisa and you're in a fairly safe spot, you want to be thinking, okay, who can I just get a free kill on here? You're putting down pressure, which is fine, and you pressure the D.Va to fly away, because she's already used her shift, and she uses quite a lot of it. You could have tried to, aim down here and suck her in to below, or just stall that so she can't make it all the way across by putting it behind her. Surprised you didn't do that. That's what I would have liked to have seen. But well games are, this is one round of one map. It's not a big deal. If you've not played, I've played Orisa on this a lot of times.
Roadhog's right side.
I like the instinct to pull that hog out, but let's face it, were you ever going to get that kill?
Damn it, he went away. Shit.
You got that turret mid-flight, that was good. Nice kill. You won't be calling that hog. I would have pulled earlier there. So you've kind of timed the pull to pull him back out of cover once he's already got out, which is just a little bit too late. If you see that coming, which you do, so he's going to be most vulnerable the moment that heal wears off. You want to time your pull to stall him as once that heal wears off. So you want to be firing that right click now. Possibly just into the ground even. It doesn't really matter where, as long as you stall him to finish him off with that discard once that heal wears off. But yeah, a little bit late. And then
I should have left point.
I don't know. I don't think leaving point
On that push to get what's this nut?
was a bad idea. I think this might just be telling of your playstyle that you're firmly in the belief that you need to be just standing shield up on point all the time. I don't believe that's true.
My ult. She used Bob. Mercy used hers right before I died. I don't know if I don't think D.Va's used hers yet.
So let's just jump back to that screen there. So you've got trans. You were just trying to figure out who's got ults on their team, but also you want to be looking at what ults you've got on your team. You've got trans, and Reaper's nearly got Blossom. I would definitely be calling for everyone. I would, if no one else is saying it, I would want to say it. I would want to say, alright, we've got trans, let's stay together. Just to ensure that nobody goes off trying to be a flanky hero and then doesn't get the benefit of the trans. And also, you want to be calling out like, hey, let's protect our Zenyatta, because if you lose that Zenyatta too early, or he panic ults too early, then before you're in position, then
Bob.
you've lost a lot
used hers right before I died.
ult value.
I don't know if I don't think D.Va's used hers yet.
Oh, and I would also be saying, guys, I'm going to drop Bongo this fight, which tells everyone, you know, save your cooldowns, and stay close, and you'll put out damage. Now, yeah,
God
counter it.
damn it, dude. Okay.
That's a noise that. Okay. I think this should be a nice win here. The focus on the teleporter. You got to question why. So maybe just put that teleporter down, you know, for a maybe escape. But also sometimes they're just a distraction, and I don't think the teleporter was the priority there. Because if everyone had walked through that teleporter, you could have just bongoed and then stalled them with your halt and put in a shit ton of damage, especially given that your team were here. That would probably have been a fairly favourable fight if you'd let them use the teleporter there, but instead you killed it, which, you know, you were maybe baited into. Now your team are over there, you're still holding this corner, but by holding this corner you're denying people this space, so no, it's not the worst thing. However,
Alright, we got the point.
if your team had all died there, then you were screwed. And, you know, if your thought is, well, the smart place I should be is on point with my shield, you're 100% right. And if your team are leaving, then that's their fault. And that might be 100% right as well. But you can be calling this out. You can be saying, guys, I have a shield on point. They can't kill you from here. Also group up for the bongo and group up for the transcendence. That should be your plan here, is to make your team unbeatable. Not just let them go off on their own directions.
So I grab right side high ground.
Wow.
Good call.
Also, I would actually have been putting another shield down there, because this one's been out for a while, not taking damage, which means it could just disappear. Is there a timer on it? Do we see the timer? Anyway, I think it's just a habit I have to, before the fight starts, put out a fresh shield. So that you don't get caught with it just disappearing and then, you know, getting hooked into the well before you get a chance to react to that. There we go, it disappeared. So this hog has punished you before, and your decision was, oh, you shouldn't have taken that fight. You're probably right, but he disengaged, and you had advantage in that fight. I think what you should have taken from that was, I should have won that fight. How can I win that fight next time? And the easy answer is ask for help. Just ask for help. That hog can come in here and fuck you up, especially if he has ult. And he's forcing you to play your shield this way and not make more space by playing it up against this wall. I think you could do a lot more work, and you could be giving your team a lot more value if you just asked them to. And sometimes that's all it takes. I can see you want to go and take that fight, but you've told yourself that that's a bad idea. Alright, so they've just used their Lucio ult. They're going to try and push this. This is a great time to bongo and make them reluctant to push, especially given, you know, if you win this fight, that might just be it. Other than a bit of trickling. Let's see if you bongo. You do! Unfortunately, D.Va got a nice bomb there. It's a nice soak, but your team are a bit all over the place, and you're getting focused. And honestly, I think your positioning has been almost exemplary for this rank. I think a lot of tanks could learn a lot from you, but you have to be able to recognize when that playstyle isn't working.
That went so far.
With or
Holy
for
shit.
your team.
I was not expecting that.
Suck that Moira into
God,
that hole.
where's fucking Sim?
That was a nice suck.
Oh, I left. Oh, what is that doing there?
Yeah, it's chaos. That happens sometimes. Damage coming from all directions. I
Oh,
think
shit,
you're
okay.
pretty hard on yourself.
Nice.
You beat yourself up. It's clearly getting you a little bit tilted.
Ready for it that time.
Oh no! Right. You got pretty lucky there. Pretty lucky. So I play a lot of Roadhog. A lot of Roadhog. And I regularly kill Orissas. And whenever I start using whole hog into an Orisa, and she panics and presses shift, I say one thing, I say noob, and then she dies. Because the knockback is part of what makes Hog's ult kind of balanced for how much damage it does. The knockback knocks people out of death zone. As soon as you press shift as Orisa there, you plant yourself, you stop moving. He takes a couple of steps forward, the whole hog hitbox hits your massive entire head hitbox, and you get deleted. You got a very nice pull out of that, and it saved your life. And you were getting heals at the time, which is fortunate and pretty rare in this match. Just be wary of that panic shift that Hog forced on you there. If anything, I would say trying to wait a bit later. Obviously, you don't want to get booped off the map or too far out of position. But if you see a Hog ulting you as Orisa, just eat it a little bit, and then shift up once you're at a safe distance.
Securing the objective. Cease your resistance.
Again, would have liked you to call that bongo. But I don't actually know how many of your team are in voice, and no one else is really saying a lot. So it can be hard forcing yourself to say these things when no one's listening or acting upon it. But my advice is, say them anyway. Get into the habit of saying those things, and it'll pay off in the long run.
God damn, dude, they just keep funneling in.
Now this is good. You want them to funnel. You don't want them to group.
Yeah, I was like, where the fuck is he?
I think you're just being a little bit negative. It's not going to help. Now here, Hammond's about to slam somewhere around here. I don't see you using your halt ability anywhere near as often as you should be on this map. Orisa is huge here because of this area of denial. I've seen you miss quite a few opportunities to get really good pulls. You can now do one about here. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, from where that Hammond went up, he's going to slam, say, here, maybe. Or maybe a bit closer, or maybe a bit further off the screen. But generally this area of the map. If you throw a halt, like over here, about now, I think, before he hits the ground, or even while he's up there, maybe even if you've thrown it earlier than now, because I probably would have, you can pull him over, and he's going to go plop right down the hole. That's an opportunity, because he loses mobility when he does on a thing like that. So when I see Diva boost, or when I see Hammond slamming, or when I see someone use their mobility, that's a really good opportunity to cancel that mobility and take advantage of them being locked into that trajectory or whatever, and not having a way out if you then readjust it, so like a Reinhardt charge or a Winston jump or whatever. Yeah, so he landed right on you. If you just kind of pulled that over to the edge of the well there, then he maybe wouldn't have got behind your shield, but there's a good chance you could have got him in that hole. I don't think you should have lost that fight, personally. Let's just watch what happened again.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
So, in fact, let's go back a little bit further. Because I think from here, this should be a one match. Well, or a one round, okay? With a bit of target calling and a bit of focus, you easily overwhelm them. You've already got 2 DPS picks. You've got 2 supports on point. You should be able to overwhelm these guys.
Damn, dude, they just keep funneling in.
The Moira fades off to the right. Nobody's called it. Reaper's left that fight for a while. Oh no, she died. Even better. Call that Lucio. Scream it. Scream it. The most important thing right now, the only important thing going on in this game is the fact that there's a Lucio still on point when you guys are at 99 and they've just lost 3 people. This is your win condition right now, is killing this Lucio. Call it, scream it, halt him. It doesn't matter if you halt him into the well. Halt him to make him easier to kill for everyone, especially if you've called him. Everyone should be focusing him right now.
Yeah, I was like, where the fuck is he?
This Hammond's come up. He's getting in your shit. He's forcing one of your team back. At this point, he's become a higher priority for a tank. Maybe not for a DPS or something, but for a tank, this is something you need to make sure doesn't become a problem. Again, he's stalling with mobility. That's going to be an issue. Those two guys are a big problem. If a fucking, you know, if a diva comes in now, she's not going to be able to stall for long because she's quite predictable with her movement. She's quite big. You can kill a diva between your comp. Between two people, you can kill a diva pretty easily. These guys keep evading as you're holding point. These guys need to be priority. So yeah, shooting him's good, but he started getting away, and then you go for the diva, who's largely doing nothing. She's doing chip damage to your shield, but she is holding point. That's where you should have been, you know, try to get that halt. Maybe to take the diva bomb off course. Maybe to pull the baby diva into the well, so she can't remech here. Maybe to pull the Hammond into the well as well. That could have been a huge halt, or at least a good attempt at one. Opportunity missed. The Hammond comes down, boops you out your shield, and you threw a new shield down, but you kind of got body blocked by the Hammond, and he killed you. Sorry, the diva bomb killed you. Diva remeked. That fight just went from won to lost with that diva bomb, which is unfortunate. And that's going to be the match, right? Is there another stall? There's a little... no, not really. So, yeah, overall, quite impressed. You've got a good sense of where it is that you should be, irrespective of your team, as in where your team should be and where the value in your shield is going to come from. Maybe not so much on Reinhardt, but you know, Orisa well positioning was pretty perfect, right? The issue was your team weren't playing around that, and when you were playing Reinhardt, you were regularly off by yourself, and it wasn't that you'd necessarily gone somewhere by yourself. It's that you were leading the way, and then your team broke off from you, so now you were no longer leading the way. In both cases, your team weren't getting an awful lot of value from you. I think had you played this entire match as Winston, against it with the same heroes on both sides, if no one was counter-picking around that or whatever, you might have had a much better time, because you would have been able to do those chases, help your team out with their engagements, rather than just providing this single solitary space on point for them to fall back to if they're in trouble, when there's already lots and lots of cover on these maps that people can fall back to if they're in trouble. So I would say that's the main thing you probably want to take away from this, is not even so much what you're doing, but trying to think about what you're doing for your team. And the other thing that I think you could hugely benefit from, especially given that you're checking the screen, you are questioning whether or not you should be taking fights and things like that, is call some shots, man. Now again, maybe no one in voice, but it's good practice, and that practice will pay off. Is if you come up with a plan, then share it with your team. And if you're deciding on target priority, this guy needs to die, that guy needs to die, this guy's going to fuck me up, this guy's flanking and needs to be punished, call that out. You were fairly silent for the whole game, and that's a shame, because there was a lot of missed opportunities there for communication to have turned the fight around a little bit. Of course, it only works if everyone's listening, but just do it anyway. Just call it. If there's one person in voice, call shit out. I'm always calling shit out and then reminding myself people aren't in voice, and then I'll keep calling shit out anyway, because I've got into the habit of calling it out, and that habit is part of my playstyle, and it's part of why I'm not still in gold. Is that if some players are good at noticing things and making decisions and coming up with plans, and some players are just better at clicking on heads, right? If you have a plan that enables someone to get more value out of their head clicks, share that plan. But yeah, good luck. I would actually, I'd like to see some more of your videos, some more maps, some more heroes maybe. Because yeah, I don't think you're going to be in silver forever. Okay.